All right, we got a little problem here on the Thursday edition of the No Doubt About It podcast. Many of you who are married know this, that when you have a wardrobe situation where you are wearing the warm wardrobe, your wife is wearing the cold wardrobe, there's a massive problem.
Summer wardrobe.
See, here the problem is this. I need the air down to about 48 in here because I somehow got into my
winter wear.
Yeah, it's not even winter wear, but no, I'm with you. And you are dressed appropriately.
Yes,
and therefore I have control of
the nest.
The studio nest.
Yeah, not
here.
cool. I went and turned it up because it was freezing in here, and I got it back up to like 72 for a minute just because I hope that it gets us back to 64 in here.
Right.
Meanwhile, you come in here and crank it back down. It's like we're
going
to be blue. I'm going to have blue lips.
I'm going to black out from heat stroke if I don't keep it low.
Here's a fresh tip. Dress for the season, guy.
I know. That's a problem.
I mean, wearing a thermal hoodie.
Yeah.
Okay, before you tell everybody what's going to happen here on the No Doubt About It today.
Yeah.
Couple quick breaking news things, just because I want to throw them out there and make sure that we know that. Real quick is first, we got the Kamala Harris saying she's not going to run for governor of California. I know you were dying to know that news, Mark.
Edge of my seat.
It literally just broke, so I just want to make sure everybody's aware.
Okay.
I don't know what her big plans are, but it is not to run for the governor of California.
Okay.
And then the Federal Reserve, we were all kind of waiting to see if they're going to cut their interest rates or not. That also just came down and said that they are actually not going to cut it right now, and that they have made no decisions about September yet. So it'll be interesting to kind of see where that ends up going, if it's going to. A little thing here I saw on X just as we were starting the show. It says, stressed that the current policy stance leaves them well positioned. Growth is moderating, mostly due to weaker consumer spending. Inflation remains somewhat elevated. The housing market is weak, and tariffs are starting to push up prices on specific goods. Powell also pointed out that consumers and retailers take on most of the tariff burden. So not really sure about that, but
yeah. Okay. Well, actually, growth looks very good. We'll get into that in a second. I'm not an economist, but this is just strange that they were cutting rates at the end of the Biden administration toward the election, and then now they suddenly are like, oh, no, we got to watch out for all this. Yeah, if he had been that concerned about inflation when Biden was president, maybe we wouldn't be in the spot that we're in. Mm-hmm. But guess what? He had no clue. Had no idea it was coming. It's hard to take some of these guys sometimes. And I know Jerome Powell has expertise beyond anything I've ever studied. So I don't pretend to know what Jerome Powell knows. But I do know that far too often what he has said is going to happen never happens. And when he says, we're okay on inflation, it's transitory, you couldn't have been more wrong. Mm-hmm. I mean, and it cost millions of Americans a ton of money. And we're still making up for it now. We still have interest rates that are sky high that had to be raised the way they were to deal with that inflation because he was wrong. And now he won't cut the rates. Okay, I don't get it. And I understand some of Trump's frustration with this. And the housing market is slowing down. That's a reason to cut rates, not to not cut rates.
Right.
I guess, I don't know. I'm just a simple meteorologist. I don't know these things.
You are a homeowner, and we have thought about moving, and we can't seem to even think about that because interest rates are still so ridiculous.
I mean,
you get less house for your money.
Go look at the number of houses on market. Now, Albuquerque's a little bit different, but still, there are still more and more houses coming online. People can't afford it.
Right.
I mean, you got more and more people moving into apartments because they have the rates are so high. The government debt's another thing nobody talks about, but we're paying massive amounts on debt because they continue to keep rates high. So I don't know. I just think it's crazy.
Okay. Well, I mean, it wasn't even a story today. But
no, I know.
I guess we're making it a quick story.
I just found his little comment, like, I'm not going to cut rates because the housing market's softening. I'm like, that seems like a reason to cut rates. But I don't know.
It's just things he's watching, he said. It wasn't a direct quote by him saying the housing market was softening. It's led to believe that that's some of what people are thinking he's doing is they're trying to guess why he keeps holding on to that.
Yeah, no, he's tough to guess. I mean, he's Captain Transitory. I mean, I don't know if his philosophy is transitory or just our money becomes transitory to somebody else because we continue to just outlay it here, but whatever.
Okay, why don't you give us a quick rundown of what we're going to see on today's show?
Yeah, so right out of the shoot here, this whole redistricting thing and gerrymandering thing that we talked about last show.
Yeah, the last episode.
It's not going anywhere. This is crazy. So actually, a Texas delegation has come to New Mexico, which I am going to compliment these people, by the way. Democrats from Texas have come to New Mexico to meet with Michelle Lujan Grisham, and I have a compliment for them on the way, and a big one at that. No, I'm serious about that. Then Melanie Stansbury's jumping in. She's talking about the issue. Hey, you know how we feel about Mel.
We love listening to all her viral videos.
Oh,
If there's nothing I want to listen to more than Stansbury talking to people on X with her little viral videos.
Listen, she is, once again, favorite. The performative efforts and the dulcet tones of Melanie Stansbury hit us again. So we'll talk about that.
Great.
We're also going to talk about a Ivy League school which actually put together a website which said which states are the most severely gerrymandered, meaning which states have congressional cutouts so that one party wins over the other. I wonder where New Mexico ranks. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. We'll have some, of course, feedback from our erstwhile viewers. Deb Haaland. Yeah. We got problems for Deb.
Got a little ding. She got a little ding.
So we'll see what happens. A setback for Deb with Showboat Sam.
Yeah.
And the Showboat's high-stepping it.
Oh, yeah. He's excited. He's got his hat on.
Yes, you know it. You know it. He may have a different costume on after this endorsement. I think so.
Please don't. Please, Sam, do not put on this costume because you will get ridiculed.
No. He doesn't. He doesn't care. He's going to put it on. All right. So, by the way, the U.S. economy, has it grown? According to Powell, maybe not, but actually we have some numbers to say otherwise. And then we'll get into the EU deal on tariffs, which was a big, big win for Trump.
And we'll tell you why. We'll explain a bit why that trade deal is so good.
Yeah, very true. And there's a media organization that is going belly up. And then we're going to hit the Sydney Sweeney controversy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
A new Gene ad.
So we should really care about that.
Everybody's getting all, well, it is. People are talking about it.
It is ridiculous.
So we have to put our 2 cents into it.
Well, of course we do.
Okay, so the gerrymandering episode blew up. People were very interested in the last episode because the hypocrisy that was flying out of these New Mexico leaders telling other states how to avoid gerrymandering in their states so the Democratic, party doesn't lose some strength in those states. We really hit that on the last episode. It took off, but unbelievably so. We have a fresh story for you.
Well, no. So Texas, which is right now fighting gerrymandering. So what did Texas decide to do? Texas Democrats got in the Suburban. They left Texas. And they came to New Mexico to meet with none other than Michelle Lujan Grisham. And let me tell you something. This is amazing. These Texas Democrats are like, wait a minute. If we're going to understand how gerrymandering works, we're going to go to the Michael Jordan of gerrymandering. And that is Michelle Lujan Grisham.
Wow, quite a compliment.
I give them credit for that. If you're trying to find out how gerrymandering works, go to the person who gerrymandered the living heck out of her own state.
Yeah.
So you're like, hey, champ, what do we do? How does this work? And then
how do we get 100% representation by one party?
How do we eliminate the other party?
Yeah,
how do we do this?
How do we do that by drawing party lines?
Or how do we fight the party that's trying to eliminate us? Give us some background. Mm-hmm. So here is how it all broke down. Okay, so this is some first quote from the Journal article, from Dan Boyd, by the way.
Okay, a delegation of 7 Texas House Democrats met with Michelle Lujan Grisham for more than an hour.
MJ Grisham.
Oh, yeah, MJ.
Yes.
MJ. MLG.
Yes,
okay.
MLG,
okay.
Yes.
For more than an hour amid a redistricting fight that's drawn national headlines. After emerging from the closed-door meeting, the Democrats said they're trying to build alliances with high-profile, quote, friends around the nation who support their cause. So, going on.
Whatever
that
keep
means.
going. That doesn't mean anything, but go ahead. Let's keep
With
going.
Republicans holding a comfortable majority in both legislative chambers in Texas, Democrats have limited options when it comes to trying to block the redistricting proposal. Meanwhile, the Tuesday sit-down with Lujan Grisham took place after Texas Democrats held similar meetings in recent days with none other than California Governor Gavin Newsom, also a fellow gerrymanderer.
And the Magic Johnson of gerrymandering.
Governor J.B. Pritzker.
Oh, yes, that's the Bill Russell of gerrymandering. So, yes, these guys are fantastic.
All the coaches get together, all the teams, they're like pulling in all the players.
The best players of all time.
This is what you do. This is how you do it. This is how you manipulate the vote in your states. This is how you do it.
I give these Texas politicians credit.
Yeah, they knew where to go.
Yeah,
they don't come to us for education. They don't come with us on how do you fight crime.
Hell no.
They don't come to us on how do you build more jobs in your state.
Don't you dare.
No, they come here to learn how to manipulate the state so it benefits their
Unbelievable.
party.
Here comes Magic Johnson. Let's ask Magic Johnson Newsom what to do.
Gosh.
And honestly, Larry Bird, Pritzker, I mean, all of them, whatever, they're the best. Okay, keep going.
Okay, but here's the thing. Then they just said they're going to have this press conference.
Yes,
okay,
I love
it. This is what really did crack me up because she'll meet with them, right? But then she won't have a press conference about it. She's not going to attend the press conference. Okay,
well,
this is what she says instead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because this is her playing her cards right.
Okay, yeah.
Lujan Grisham did not attend the news conference alongside the Texas Democrats, but said in a statement she supports their efforts. Quote. After meeting with Texas lawmakers today, I share their concerns about redistricting and the assault on fair representation. Rich coming from her.
She cares about that now.
Quote,
That's nice.
yeah, these dedicated state legislators are understandably doing everything possible to remind states everywhere that this isn't how democracy is supposed to work. What?
The threat to democracy is back.
I'm sorry, and you've done it in our state. I mean, what is... You have 100% representation on the Democratic side in our state, on a national.
She signed it. She worked with the legislature to do it. They worked hand in glove.
Right.
Okay, they worked hand in glove and she did it. And then she turns around and says, everybody's too stupid to know this, but I'm just going to go ahead and shoot it back. But I will say this about her. This is why there are different levels of politicians, okay? And there are different levels of leaders. And I know this is going to make me popular with our listeners, but Michelle Lujan Grisham is not the same level as Melanie Stansbury, Teresa Ledger Fernandez, or the other joker down south. Okay?
Because you didn't make a video on it?
Yes. She didn't show up at the press conference because she's not a moron.
Yeah.
Like, she just was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that.
But I'm going to put out this ridiculous statement.
Yeah, of course the statement's ridiculous, but she doesn't care.
Yeah,
nobody's reading that.
Yeah, she's hoping nobody actually sees
nobody's
her
paying any attention. So she's being supportive, but not being a total hypocritical, nutbag who's like, bah, 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 bah.
Well, what would be fascinating though is if any of our press members here locally could just go ahead and respond back to her and ask her about this statement, and maybe just call her, put her on the spot, and say, "Are you kidding me?"
This is a very fair point, and I was talking to a friend of mine today about this, and saying, "Where are our news stations? Where are our television stations going to every one of these people and saying, what are you talking about? Mm-hmm. Look at what you have done. Look at what you signed on for, and look how you're speaking now. You hypocritical fool." Right. But none of them are doing it. None of them. Right. So don't tell me that, believe me, if we had done the same thing, and if a Republican had done the same thing, and it was a similar issue of some kind, they would be getting eaten alive right now. Every day they'd come in and say, well, we don't have answers on this. We're going to keep chasing it down. And they don't say a darn thing.
Well, what would be fascinating viral campaign for this potentially is if we could get the Republicans in our state, like the Yvette Harrells of the world, those folks, make the response back videos of these and be like, this is how gerrymandering works. And I know it worked because I lost my seat because of it. And have her explain the map that way is a direct contradiction to what these yo-hos are going into other states and talking about what they should be doing in their states. Let's just look at this prime example by Miss Stansbury because it's excellent. She's over there telling people in Missouri what they should be doing in their state.
Well, and she's just so you know the video, she's talking to Representative Wesley Bell, who is a representative, I think, from suburban St. Louis-ish, or maybe right in St. Louis. So he's the one standing in with her, and they're laying it down.
Why would they go after Missouri?
Well, Missouri's right now, our legislature has already been gerrymandered to where there's a supermajority in our House, in the House, Senate, and obviously in the governor's office. And so, and when you look at Kansas City, if you were trying to gerrymander, considering it's surrounded by what are historically, well, more recently been Republican districts, it could conceivably happen.
It could conceivably happen. By the way, you can see how careful he's being. Yeah. Why? Because it's probably not going to happen, and he knows this, but he said it anyway. But listen to what he said there. They have gerrymandered Missouri to the point where they have a supermajority or a near supermajority. Sounds familiar. That's New Mexico too, believe it or not. And in fact, when you look at where we were and where we are, it's ridiculous. So just one more little reminder. Like, this is the map from before the census. Albuquerque is CD1. The southern part of New Mexico is CD2. and the northern part of New Mexico is CD3. And then the legislature said, we will never let that happen again. We are going to make sure Republicans don't get any representation. So this is map 2. The map which splits southeastern New Mexico into 3 different congressional districts so they can disenfranchise Republican voters. Remember, Michelle did this. All the Democrats in the state of New Mexico signed on for this. Okay? So to listen to them speak about it. And it was held up by
judges.
And it absolutely, because again, the Supreme Court of the state of New Mexico is a rubber stamp. So you do not have representation. And again, here's what I would say on this. I would say it all the time. The state is not served well by one party in complete and total control. It hasn't worked. We're number 1 in crime. We're last in quality healthcare. We're last in education. It's devastating. And it's devastating because there's no accountability. And bad ideas get to just run like wildfire.
Right.
And that's exactly where we are. And we're not the only ones who think this.
No, so there was a little report card put together about from Princeton, okay, which talks about what states have gerrymandered the most or the best, I guess, or however you want to.
Who's the professional gerrymanders?
Yeah, who is the professional gerrymanders of their state in a way to do this, right? Guess who is the top dog?
Well, I don't know. Are we top dog?
Well, we're pretty top dog. Look at this report card, okay? We are right there.
We got a D or an F, it looks like.
Yeah, D or an F. That means that we basically don't have an equal playing field in our state. If you want to run for both parties, it is not even close to being equal.
And I want to show you something here that's kind of interesting. Go ahead and leave that up, Ava, for a second, okay? And I think what's interesting about this is that you have certain states that don't do this sort of thing, okay? That don't do this. And you know why they don't do it? Is because they tend to have a little more of a balanced representation. You understand what I mean? Like when you don't have a balanced representation, you have one party that controls everything, it can lead to these sorts of things. And it isn't just a Democratic problem. Texas has been gerrymandered, absolutely, and it is a Republican state. Florida has been gerrymandered to some degree, and it is a Republican state. Now, there are plenty of other Democratic states that have been gerrymandered as well. Oregon's a great example as well. But point being in all this, New Mexico, well, if you take our individual report card, the worst grade we get is for how we break down the congressional seats, and that's where we get the big old D. We get a D.
We get a D. Now, but go back to that first one. I wanted to throw in something there, Ava. So what's interesting is looking at California being yellow, it says better than average with some bias. Okay, J.D. Vance tweeted today. Today, he says, the gerrymander in California is outrageous. Of their 52 congressional districts, 9 of them are Republicans. That means 17% of their delegation is Republican. When Republicans regularly win 40% of the vote in that state, how can this possibly be allowed?
Less than half, right? And that's the point Ledger Fernandez was making when we talked about it last week, those numbers. And so, and he's absolutely right. And by the way, this Princeton study,
yes,
it skews left, by the way. If you start to dive into the numbers, it actually skews really far left. And in fact, they give us in New Mexico a B for our House breakdown of our individual state House seats. That deserves an F. By the way, Senate's not quite as bad. Senate probably deserves a C, and they gave it an A. So, again, we're not saying this Princeton thing is right down the middle, but even the Princeton study says, yeah, congressionally, you get a D.
Yeah.
Because you absolutely did everything you could to eliminate the other party.
Right.
So again, that made for a lot of reaction in the show we did on Sunday.
Oh my gosh, we got so many comments, and we appreciate all of them. I couldn't take the time to read all of them in, but I did pull a few today just because this ties into this furthering of the story a little bit. So Kathleen wrote in, thanks so much for your explanation of the gerrymandering that has gone on in New Mexico. As a relatively new resident here, I had some understanding of this, but the map and specifics were elucidating. I so appreciate your podcast and hope that your audience grows even more. All New Mexicans can benefit from the takes that you two have. As an independent voter and an independent thinker, I salute you. So thank you so much, Kathleen.
We love notes like that because the last thing we want to be is a honk for, conservatives or Republicans or whatever. Right. Anytime we can give you information, and sometimes it's stuff we don't even like saying. And by the way, we're going to have one of those things here in a second. But we always want to be honest with you. And I think there's a terrible idea floating out there by Republicans, and we're going to get to it in just a second.
Yeah, and by the way, Mark and I don't always agree ourselves on the same topics, so we have no problem.
You're not right on
Oh,
everything.
by the way, a comment I didn't put in here was talking about you need to stop stepping over me again with your words. And I was like, yeah, exactly. He needs to let me finish what I was thinking. I think that's important. Don't you think? Anyway, okay. So the Atomic Mom, She wrote a very long one, and I did save this one because I thought this was interesting. It definitely furthers the story.
Holy atomic mom.
Okay,
Goodness.
I know, but she was thorough, and she
Yeah.
did some investigative
Yeah,
work,
yeah.
and I
She does great.
appreciated
She's
it.
great.
Okay,
Yep.
She says about the gerrymandering in 2020 when Yvette Herald beat.
Xochitl Torres Small.
Thank you. The then Speaker of the New Mexico House, Brian Egoff, was quoted in the Santa Fe New Mexican that the Democrats would make sure that no Republican would ever win CD2 again. He walked it back the next day, but still he said it. Then came 2020 and the census, which then allowed the state to redistrict. The Democrats did exactly what they said that they were going to do, gerrymander so that a Republican could never win that district again. Not many people also remember back in 2010, 2011, when Susana Martinez was governor, the Democrats tried a similar stunt with redistricting. For example, House District 43, Los Alamos County, was going to be split off into 3 different House districts, the center of which were in Rio Arriba County, Santa Fe County, and Sandoval County. Talk about taxation without representation. Back then, Los Alamos was seen as a center-right stronghold. Thankfully, our representative at the time, Jim Hall, fought to keep District 43 together. Governor Martinez eventually vetoed this effort, saying that the map the Democrats had come up with was going to unnecessarily divide communities and pit communities against each other. And as you said, the next governor is going to be very important if we ever want to try and Humpty Dumpty back out of this again. And she added this. Here's the exact quote from Brian Egoff in the Santa Fe New Mexican on gerrymandering. It said, quote, after Republican Congresswoman-elect Yvette Herald's blowout victory over Democrat
Xochitl Torres Small.
Thank you. In New Mexico's 2nd Congressional District, Democratic Speaker of the House, Brian Egoff, has already begun his power grab. He announced that he will try to turn the tides in his favor by heavily gerrymandering the districts to help the Democrats in.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we've done it. They did it. They said they were going to do it. They did it. And now they're leading press events and meetings behind closed doors to teach other states how to try to do this.
Well, and so I think it's very clear. And this is why representation in the state, whether it be your governor, your legislature, everybody being of one party, it does not serve you well. It hasn't served the state very well at all over the past 80 years.
Yeah.
It just hasn't.
Yeah,
so
we don't have anything to really back
yeah,
it
when
up.
you have 2 different parties fighting it out and holding each other accountable, you just get better government. You do. Mm-hmm. You do. And you just don't see that here now. And so we'll see how it all shakes out. But it is definitely something that is getting a lot of attention. And I think it's going to continue to grab a lot of attention. I just think our leaders owe us enough respect to I get you've done what you've done. There's no reason to go out and rub people's faces in the fact that you go and try to lecture people and wag your finger. You just end up looking like a phony.
Yeah.
And so maybe they don't care, and I think they probably don't.
They don't
right?
care. They also think that people won't know. And again, you got to keep in mind, Teresa Fernandez, Ledger Fernandez, Melanie Stansbury, they're all just looking for their next election. So they're trying to stay vibrant and on the videos, and they want to be relevant, and they're trying to keep their face and their image out there. Meanwhile, they're hoping you're so dumb that you didn't figure out what they did. They were part of this themselves in 2021. So again, it's like, wake up, people, and remember what happened in 2021. Pay attention to what these people are actually trying to get you to, I guess, not believe or not believe your own eyes, something like that. Okay, so Deb Haaland, not going quite the way that she had thought, I think, with this most recent endorsement.
Well, we'll see what happens. This is from Axios, and we'll just read you one of the quotes here. Deb Haaland has lost an endorsement from a Native American tribe, the Sandia tribe, northern Albuquerque. They are a significant tribe, not in numbers. They're not many Sandia members. There are 500 or so. They don't matter electorally in the respective number of people. But obviously, it's a massive juggernaut financially because they have the most lucrative casino in the state. And they have decided that they are going to endorse Sam Bregman. Showboat has gotten himself an endorsement here. Now, it's pretty early on, and I think he'll get some more, to be honest with you. In the thought process here, and first of all, Axios, I think, kind of incorrectly assesses the situation here. But I'll say that the tribes across New Mexico are varied in their approaches. There are conservative tribes who will endorse not only conservative Democrats, but Republicans, and that will help Republicans. And then some will only help Democrats. Like, it just depends. And you would expect that. They have different interests. They have different challenges in many ways. And so this is something that, for Haaland being a member of the Laguna Pueblo, is this something that hurts her greatly? I don't think it necessarily does. I'm not a believer that endorsements mean much. usually. They usually don't. Sometimes they can, but an endorsement like this, I don't think is going to be a game changer. But is this a little something that makes you say, Deb Haaland could be a paper tiger? And we've said that from the very beginning, that she could totally collapse. It could absolutely happen, and Showboat could walk in. I still don't think it's going to happen, but I do think that it's interesting. And if I'm Deb Haaland, I'm probably concerned about this, but we'll just have to wait and see. But they did issue a pretty strong statement, and I think that's the most interesting part is how strong the statement was from Sandia.
It says, at a time when Native Americans across the country are demanding justice and representation, Sam is the only candidate who has consistently shown up and delivered. That was said by Chavez in a statement to Axios. So.
I might disagree with him on that, but
okay, yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, they made a fairly strong statement.
The other
so
thing,
we'll
too, I think this is kind of a reach by Axios. One of these bullets I just want to mention.
Right.
It says it's also a state where Native American voters can swing a close election. I mean, maybe in a primary, depending on what that turnout looks like. But I feel like that's a little bit of an overreach on that. Well, statement.
I guess it depends on how close the election is.
I mean, yeah, is it like is it like 20 votes?
Yeah, if it's 20 votes, absolutely.
Then maybe
no, it's and that's one of the things that's always been tricky, I think, for both parties to figure out. How can you motivate a lot of the Native American vote to get out and not only support you, but then advocate for their own causes with you, and to stay engaged and to make sure that you can do what needs to be done to better their lives. And sometimes there's some frustration because, especially on sides of many tribes who say, wait a minute, you guys show up during election season. You don't show up any other time.
Right.
How do you expect people to believe in you if we never see you? So that's there is a kind of a middle ground in there that needs to be reached to continue to engage Native Americans. Are they a big swing vote in the state? No, they're not. So Axios's line there is probably a throwaway line. They just thought seems like it should be true.
It should be true.
But I think over time, if you did engage more and more Native American voters, you saw some of those voters shift right, no question, in the last presidential election. They did. That's just a fact. You can go look it up. And so this is something to think about and to engage them more. But we'll see what happens with this. This will not be the only tribe that endorses Bregman. They're not going to be the only tribe.
Okay.
But again, we have a lot of Pueblos and tribes in the state. So I don't think this tells you much yet. But when it comes and Jeff Tucker sent me this from the Journal, and he's like, so you ready to pay up? And I'm like,
because he thinks it's going to be, we had Jeff Tucker on the show and you guys got into it. He thinks Bregman will get the primary candidate vote. And you're
so we'll
like,
see.
no.
Yeah,
it's not going to happen,
but still.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk a little bit about the economy, because obviously we led at the very beginning of the show with saying the Federal Reserve is not going to slash interest rates at this point. But, and that the whole thing is people are questioning, well, it's because the economy is a little slow or whatever. Actually, the U.S. economy is growing faster than expected if you look at some of these numbers.
This is incredibly impressive.
Yeah, it says U.S. economy grew at 3% rate in Q2, a better than expected pace, even as Trump's tariffs hit. So.
Yeah, and listen to the poll quote on this. The U.S. economy grew at a much better than expected pace in the second quarter, powered by a turnaround in the trade balance. Hello, that's tariffs, by the way, and renewed consumer strength, the Commerce Department reported Wednesday. Gross domestic product, the sum of goods and services activity across the sprawling U.S. economy, jumped 3% from April through the June period, according to figures adjusted for seasonality and inflation. This was much higher than people expected. Okay, so now this isn't to say that the tariffs aren't going to have some sort of impact. They may well. Okay, but this is one of those situations that's interesting in the respect that more money is going to be coming into the coffers of the United States government. We're reorienting trade. Here we go again with the Powell stuff about being wrong about everything. All these economists are just like, well, yeah, this is going to be devastating. I mean, we're going to see things, prices are going to take off everywhere. Has not happened yet. Now, not to say that there aren't some small price increases in places. There may well be. There's a difference, though, between a one-time price increase to adjust for a tariff and inflation, which continues to climb and compound upon itself and create huge problems, right? They're just two different things. And so we'll see what ends up happening with it. But all the experts who are like, here comes recession, right? We got that.
Yeah.
We got that when all this stuff happened.
Yeah.
Here comes a recession. We're in real trouble. None of it happened. Now, I'm not saying there's going to be nothing difficult that could be part of this. You have to understand that if we are going to give countries access to our market, we deserve to be able to take advantage of some of that. And when you get access to the broadest, deepest, most wealthy market in the world, that can come with an entry price. It's okay. Sometimes that entry price is equal what we pay you. Sometimes you'll pay us a little bit more because you're flooding a lot of your goods in here. But they're not signing this deal. Like, for example, the EU and everything else, which we'll get into. They don't sign that deal because it doesn't work for them. They sign it because it does.
Right. It was a win. And so let's jump right into that. It says here how the EU succumbed to Trump's tariff steamroller. And you get in here, this is coming in from the Telegraph. It says U.S. cars and energy to flood Europe as Trump strikes trade deal. U.S. president confirms that there will be a 15% tariff on all EU goods. The deal is the, quote, biggest in the world, says Trump, and it was secured ahead of his meeting with Starmer. That gets cut off. But it was
Keir Starmer, from the UK, who we already cut a deal with the UK, and then they're separate from the EU, right?
So this is different. This is different. But
no question.
What was surprising is when you started putting all these clips in here, I was like, holy cow, look at this. The media people have to eat a little crow and actually talk a little bit about the fact, guess what? Some of these Trump tariff plans that everybody's been freaking out over actually are pretty good deals. So let's take just a little listen to some of these clips that you've put together.
Reviews are in on the new trade deal announced with the European Union. The Financial Times says the deal marks a victory for Trump.
Is this a fantastic deal then struck by Donald Trump?
Absolutely a victory on behalf of the Trump administration.
Well, the bottom line is this is the biggest trade deal in President Trump's effort to effectively reshape the global trading order.
On this deal, the European Union, this is a big win for the U.S.
The bigger picture is that Trump is still very much pursuing his longer-term goal of achieving what he perceives to be fairness for America.
It's a triumph of a lot of things. Certainly, the president ought to take a victory lap. I think it ends up being good for the European Union. It's a blow against the conventional wisdom.
Yeah, it is a blow against the conventional wisdom that once again was wrong again, right. And it is disheartening because every time there is this, and I don't know whether it is this whole just opposition to Trump that just anything he suggests just can't possibly work.
I do think that there is a large factor of that that does dominate in the media and does dominate even in just conversation on social media with people. If you do not like Trump, you do not want to believe that any of his ideas will actually work.
And he's got to be frustrating the heck out of them.
Oh,
I mean, they're like,
sure.
Oops, it worked. Oops, it worked. Oops, it worked.
Wait, no, we're going to talk about something else. We're going to find something else that he's going to say that's going to be wrong.
That's why being a purely oppositional party does not work, especially when most of your opposition is on the 20% of issues that nobody wants to be on. I mean, that's why so much of this is going to be interesting going into the midterms, because I still think it's going to be an uphill battle for Republicans. It just is. There's just no way around that. However, because things, and if they continue to go well, and because things have been just so clear in the opposition from the other side, instead of coming up with alternatives or saying here and there, you know what, Trump did that right. He got that right. We need to come together on that. Here, that's not going to hurt you as a party. You don't have to do that on everything, but you can do it on a few things. But when you don't, and you decide we're going to be the oppositional party no matter what, you just look like the boy who cried wolf every time. And you're wrong every time.
This is going to cause kids to die, Mark.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
People are going to die. I mean, I sure this EU trade deal, people are going to die.
Well, I know that. And the BBB, I mean, the big, beautiful bill, people are dying in the streets.
Yeah, people are going to die.
Yeah,
so
no, I know they are. I know. It's absolutely true. Yeah. But it is interesting.
We should write a children's book called People Are Going to Die.
People are going to die, kids.
The moral of the story is the big bad wolf story all over again, right?
Yeah.
But it will just modernize it.
One other thing on the economy that I want to run by you. Because, again, we tell you the truth versus being honks for our own side. There is an idea out right now from a senator who I think is incredibly sharp and a great, great carrier of a message, and that's Josh Hawley. He's from Missouri. I like him so much I bought a car in Missouri the other day. Okay?
Okay, great. Thank you. I know.
Right. I'm just telling you.
You and the cars.
So, anyway, but that's not the point of this story.
We'll see what state you buy the next car from, because this one will last about 20 seconds.
Okay, let's
we'll
not
have a little bit on
let's
that.
not open up the wounds of our marriage to our listeners. So
we've already talked about.
So Josh Hawley,
the only thing that's going to be the demise of our marriage, we divorced each other from car shopping. Remember?
We did, yeah,
we
I know.
We shared that on the show a couple of shows ago. That you buy your cars, I buy mine.
Yep, I'm out.
You stay out of my lane, I stay out of your lane. No pun intended. But this is your purchase.
That's
you
good point.
Do you?
I know, and I would love to do a segment on the show, by the way.
Yes.
On car buying. And how it works now. And I was infuriated. I went into a dealership in New Mexico and I kind of lost it on them.
Oh.
I lost it on them because they were trying to rip me off, and I've done this enough. Like I know
you're
that
almost like a car dealer.
I am
yourself.
like a car dealer. Like I know the deal, right? And they were trying to rip me off, and I was like, what would have happened if I had been somebody who didn't know what they were doing out here? You would have taken an extra $20,000.
Yeah, welcome to the car.
It's off. That part's. It's not always that way. But anyway, I'm sorry to just take us down a ridiculous rabbit hole.
Go back to Josh Hawley.
Okay, so Josh Hawley I think is really great. However, he has come out and suggested recently that there be a $600 rebate check to every American because of how much money we're getting from tariffs. Okay, listen, I totally understand what he's trying to say, but this is a terrible idea. We are in $37 trillion of debt. We have to pay that off. We have to pay that money back down. It's like the credit card, okay? This is the equivalent of saying, mom and dad are in $1 million of debt. We have an extra $50,000 that's come in. Let's go give the kids each 10 grand.
Yeah.
You're like, no. Hey, kids, guess what? We've been living too large as it is. Mm-hmm. So take that money and pay down the debt. Okay, so again, just one of those things that
he's putting this up as a bill that will be voted on. Is that right? That's the latest, because I know this
it would have to be.
Okay.
You can't not, Trump just can't scratch that check to people. You have to pass that through Congress.
This isn't Trump's idea. This is Josh Hawley, for the record.
Trump suggested some willingness that he kind of likes it. This is kind of a Trump thing. Trump would like this sort of thing. I just think we cannot afford to do this sort of thing.
No.
We've got to pay down the debt going forward. We owe it to our kids. We owe it to our grandkids. Our leaders have been completely and totally irresponsible. I don't think this is irresponsible. I just think we have to do what we have to do to pay down the debt. I don't love that, believe me. If we were in the state of New Mexico with our financial situation in this state, then I'm all for it. Because we don't have debt.
Right. That's why we're in favor of rebate checks for New Mexicans, right?
Or taking the income tax and suspending it because you do not need the money right now.
We have such a big budget.
Yes. And individual, not only we have a big budget, we have the money to pay it, and we have a big surplus. So because we have that surplus, working New Mexicans, a 5% raise for every working New Mexican, and we can absolutely afford it, how could you not do that? Right? That should be done. But this is different. The federal government's $37 trillion in debt. Pay it down. So just one of those things that when you hear about this, I don't like it. And I know it's easy for all Republicans to try to get on the same page with this. Don't do it. It's not smart. Pay down the debt.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I lived in LA for about 10 years, and I was pretty sucked in, especially when you and I first got married, to all of Hollywood and all of the. I mean, I had Oscar parties every year. I had a subscription to Us Weekly for a while.
Lord.
I did cancel that once I had kids because I thought I should not be spending my money on this anymore.
Maybe a little pride. Hello.
No, I was interested in it. I lived this life. I represented celebrities, all that kind of fun stuff. So it was fun for a while it lasted, but here's kind of a little bit of a news. E! News, which is a pretty significant network, is shuttering their doors. Yeah. So basically this, what they're calling this golden era of covering celebrity life on air anyway, is coming to an end. So here's a little bit of what they had to say. The demise of E! News, which will air its final TV broadcast on September 25th, marks the latest nail in the cable TV's coffin. But for a generation raised on the daily cable show's addictive formula of breaking Hollywood headlines and marathon red carpet remotes, it signifies something much more. It's the end of the golden age for celebrity news. Quote, "These are sadly just so different these days because of how television has shifted," notes Jason Kennedy, one of E!'s new longest tenured anchors, having shared the desk with Juliana Rancic from 2012 to 2019. Not a lot of people come home and watch news anymore, especially on cable, because they can get it on social media. Now, they do watch news on cable, but they don't watch necessarily celebrity news as much on cable anymore, because you can kind of get it in your Instagram feed. Yeah. You kind of just see it.
Know about it as quickly as E! does.
Oh, I know. I mean, we know where Tom Cruise was yesterday.
Yeah.
Because they put it out, bright and early.
He was in Woodstock, Vermont.
I know, he was in Vermont. Mark was very, very excited about that little piece of news. But anyway, okay, some more entertainment news today. And Ava's going to jump in on this a little bit too.
We are going to talk about this. And I I have this in a little bit of the wrong order. So I think the best thing we should do, so we're going to talk about the Sydney Sweeney story.
Mm-hmm. You want to play the ad first?
Yeah, I think so. Okay. I think we'll play a little bit of the ad first. And so there's a few different ads. One I really actually like. And then the other one's just kind of different. But let's start with clip 24, Ava. So this is the big debate here. Sydney Sweeney is an actress who I think you could fairly say she's not somebody who takes on super, she's not somebody's taking on super deep roles.
She's not Meryl Streep.
Right. She's not Meryl Streep. Right.
She is a iconic model-like beauty that is in shows like White Lotus, very popular.
Yeah.
She got really popular on Euphoria, where she's naked every single episode, by the way.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
we didn't watch that show.
Yeah.
But
And
making
there's
that
no
clear
doubt
to you
she
guys.
definitely plays up certain parts of her assets. So let's go with a couple of the ads first. Okay. These are a few of them sort of linked up back to back here. And this is for American Eagle.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay. This is for American Eagle, who makes clothing, I assume.
Yeah.
Make,
Your
like,
daughters
clothing,
love the
yeah.
the store.
They're like,
Just
okay.
a standard, like, they're owned by the same people who do Aerie, Banana Republic, those kind of things. Just
Okay. All
regular-
right. Good. So let's listen to Sydney Sweeney.
Parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, and even eye color. My jeans are blue.
Sydney Sweeney has very jeans.
I'm not here to tell you to buy American Eagle jeans. And I definitely won't say that they're the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. Or that they make your butt look amazing. Why would I need to do that? But if you said that you want to buy the jeans, I'm not going to stop you. But just so we're clear, this is not me telling you to buy American Eagle jeans.
Sydney Sweeney has very jeans.
You see what I did there, right?
Okay, let's stop right here, Abe, and we'll do one more, and let's do clip 25, which is actually
your favorite,
my favorite. Which I don't think she even speaks in this one. It's the
car. All the car.
The
it's
car
all
in
about
it
the
is
car.
pretty amazing. So let's just hear this one too.
But if you can't see this, she's just getting into, I believe,
a Mustang.
Which is beautiful. Okay, so let's talk about the controversy behind this. So we need to go back to...
Yeah, we want you to see so those are the ads, basically. And they say Sydney Sweeney has great genes. And in some way she's talking about, she's crossing different genes. She mentions her own
She's beautiful,
DNA.
but she's also wearing good jeans.
Her DNA and also her clothing.
Okay,
so
right.
the play on jeans, right? That's what they went with.
Yes.
And they do spell it jeans like the pants.
Yes.
Like they don't spell it jeans like
G-E-N-E-S.
Well, let's watch this Good Morning America, because they're happy to jump all over this story of what happens. And it shows where she's on a billboard and she is scratching out that her name says Sydney Sweeney has good genes, G-E-N-E-S, scratches it out and spells jeans like dungarees, like what you wear.
Time to check the pulse. We begin with the backlash over a new ad campaign featuring actress Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah, the ads are for American Eagle, and the tagline is, Sydney Sweeney has great genes. Now, in one ad, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed actress talks about genes as in DNA being passed down from her parents.
The play on words is being compared to Nazi propaganda with racial undertones.
The pun, good genes, activates troubling historical associations for this country. The American eugenics movement in its prime between 1900 and 1940 weaponized the idea of good genes just to justify white supremacism.
Despite that backlash, American Eagle stock has been soaring.
Okay,
I
so
love American Eagle stock has been
yeah,
soaring.
it's been soaring. Okay, here's the thing about this. Okay, so it's not just the Today Show or Good Morning America that threw this out. There's other commentators now that are all basically calling Sweeney and I guess the brand a white supremacist, right? Like, how dare she promote her genes because she's white, blue-eyed, and blonde-haired, right? Like, heaven forbid, we're supposed to forget these people. Me being one of them, although I have green eyes, but we're still supposed to forget us, right? Like, we're forgotten, right? Because we're not popular in the last 5 years. We've kind of been shunned. And so basically this marketing approach is, hey, we're going to bring back somebody that is in a lot of the top hit shows right now, that is known as being a very attractive person, a model-like quality, and putting her in jeans that we want teenage girls to go out and to buy, right? That's what they're doing. They're trying to find exactly what every advertiser used to do.
Right.
Find somebody that teenagers want to go by. Now, it has nothing to do with the fact that she's white. I'm sorry. This is ridiculous. She's not a white supremacist. Just because she's white and she's beautiful doesn't mean that like she's it. She's all she thinks about is all beauty is just coming from being white and blonde haired. No. Like I am sorry. I think this is ridiculous that they're even the fact that they connected those things to Nazi Germany or Nazi.
Well, look, this is a professor from Keene University.
Oh my gosh. Talk about a reach in trying to find some sort of bridge.
Oh, and it's a lot of people doing it.
Oh, I know.
There's a lot of people doing it.
And I'm just like, I'm sorry. I guess this just falls really short with me because I'm like, American Eagle has used plenty of beautiful models of all colors, right, in their ads, right? This isn't like, hey, we're promoting her because she's a white girl. Like that, sorry, that has nothing to do with it.
Okay, Ava?
Okay, a couple things that I would... First, one thing that I want to add is Ralph Lauren published an ad at the same time as this American Eagle ad. So a lot of the time that this controversy is happening, Ralph Lauren's ad is all black people. And it's like this really new, beautiful line of clothing they're doing, but everyone in the ad commercials is black. People are saying like, oh, this is what they were supposed to do. That's why this American Eagle ad is so white supremacist because they put it out at the same time as the Ralph Lauren ad. I think that's stupid. I don't think this is white supremacy. I think it's dumb to call it that, and I think it minimizes the issue. The real issue, I would say, is we should not be advertising to teenage girls like this. It does two things. It encourages boys to view girls this way, in this like deeply sexual, objectifying manner. I don't appreciate it. I think it's gross. I'm disturbed. And it encourages teenage girls to view themselves like this, as objects to be desired sexually. That disturbs me to no end, especially because Sydney Sweeney got famous playing a 16-year-old in high school who is like so out about her sexuality, and it's disgusting. It's disturbing. She's done ads like this for body wash. I don't like that. I don't like when we advertise to women like this, where we say, first of all, it also shows companies you can make a lot of money if you hire a woman who will overtly parade herself as some object of sexual desire and people will buy your clothes. I think that's gross. People complain that kids aren't being kids anymore. This is why. It's exactly part of the reason why. It's because we advertise to young people and tell them to over-sexualize themselves. I think it's gross. I think it's disturbing. I think that's what she should be facing backlash for, and I think she should be ashamed of herself.
Oh, whoa. Okay. I mean,
did you see her Dr. Squatch ad?
Like, no, okay, Ave, here's the thing about this particular, let's stay in the same lane, okay? She's not being crucified for being overly sexualized.
She is sometimes.
But no, that's not what
But not with this particular ad.
Okay, this controversy is not about her sexuality. This is about her being a white girl and doing the play on jeans and trying to connect that to some sort of Nazi regime messaging.
Which is dumb.
So
we don't have to give it credence. It's stupid.
But I would say, like, listen, I hate to burst your bubble, but the sexy bombshell icon has been around in advertising since the beginning of time, okay? And we are humans who do find attractiveness. I mean, there is a certain kind of beauty. It's not based on skin tone. It's like, and obviously I was not born a model. I know everybody thinks, I know you think I was, babe, but
oh my Lord.
I'm just kidding. I'm just saying beauty comes in all forms. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It comes in all forms, but this classical beauty, like your face is angular. I don't know. There's all these rules, right? About like model beauty, like Cindy Crawford's of the day and Brooke Shields. There's a reason that those people have been put in ads over and over and over. And so I think coming at this young girl and calling her Nazi or calling the brand, whatever, related to that is a massive overreach and missing the whole point of she's a beautiful girl and she's selling some jeans.
No, she's not a beautiful girl selling some jeans. She's a beautiful girl marketing herself as a sex object to sell jeans.
Okay, so
we have models who wear jeans who are beautiful. That's different than being like, buy my jeans, my boobs are big. That's stupid.
Whoa.
Like that's
okay.
Everybody. Now we're gonna get off into the.
It makes me really mad. It makes me really angry. I don't appreciate it.
I guess
no,
so.
Ava. I think so. Here's the thing. So, Ava, as I'm listening to your moral outrage, I start realizing that my position on this was going to be untenable following yours. So I'm going to say, I agree, Ava. Let's stop this garbage right now. We don't need women playing up their sexuality to sell things. So I am with you.
Okay.
I'm supporting
I genuinely do believe that.
No, Ava, I think it's an interesting in an interesting case, and I like that you made it, and you made it very well. And I would say that I think for the most part here, I think when you see something like that, I agree. And believe me, the older you get, actually, the more you realize when you see real talent, and I'm not talking about Sydney Sweeney. I don't know her from anything, right?
Not very good.
But when you see people that truly have real talent, whether it be in music or acting or whatever, business, whatever a woman you see that has this talent, you appreciate that much more than purely their looks, and using your looks to sell things to young people. Agreed, but it does happen, and I think that we are a society that does appreciate that, and it is the world we live in, and it is one that I don't think is necessarily bad all the time. But I agree. I found some of the stuff she saw, and I actually didn't pull a couple of the ones that were a little more racy, and I was pretty uncomfortable with it too. So I think her deal and her whole shtick, I'm not a huge fan of it either, but I also believe that's kind of where we live, and that is this country. But I don't think it's something to be proud of, and I don't think it's something necessarily that is great. But I also think it's a free country, and I don't want to be the country, despite my spiritual beliefs. I don't want to be the country that sits there and acts as the morality police all the time. Which sounds weird to say, but
no. And I also just think that what we've seen in advertising in the last 5 years has gotten very far away from this ad. Okay, so we have gone a different route. We have shown all different kinds of looks and feels for
that is
all
true.
kinds
You're right.
of brands.
We're not getting the sexcapades on these ads very often. Right. That's true.
It is coming back a little bit more to what worked in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. That's what they're trying again. And I just think, at the end of the day, there's certain products that are going to be more appealing if somebody that has got, as you said, the right assets in those jeans, right, than other things. So, they're still marketing a product. Their job is to still sell something, right? Whether you agree with that or disagree with that, hopefully, we've taught the girls, no midriffs. You can't show your bra straps. We had all these rules of them growing up that we held the line. I don't care what's in the advertising. I'm just defending the fact that this is an ad that is not racially motivated.
We agree.
And that is
we
what
all
the
agree
argument is.
I would say
you're right.
That's what I'm arguing.
Yeah, that's true.
This.
We agree.
I would clarify my position one last time and just say I think we need to go back to appreciating beauty in advertisements versus glorifying lust. Those are very different things. I think in this ad, it's lustful, and that grosses me out.
Okay.
I think it's different if she's in the ad, she's like, I'm wearing jeans, but that's not what's happening.
Okay, well, that's a fair assessment.
That's fair.
That's a very fair assessment. Okay.
Ava, good job.
Thanks.
Seriously.
Nicely.
Way to bring the juice today. You're in the bullpen warming up, throwing 95-mile-per-hour fastballs. You come in, and Mom and I are like, what?
I don't know what that means. But
all she
said to us is, I have an opinion on the Sweeney story. We're like, okay, come on in. Join us.
Looks like we just got it right between the eyes. Yeah.
Okay, well, that is it for us today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, you guys, please just like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. It really does a lot for us. If you're worried about not getting the videos for some reason, like you think it's maybe getting stomped down or something, sign up for our emails on the nodoubtaboutitpodcast.com. Just sign up for those emails. We only send you 2 emails a week with a link to each show, and we kind of keep you up to date on any news that is going on with Mark and I. So thanks you guys so much for joining us. We appreciate all the feedback. Keep those comments coming, and have a great rest of your week.
You've been listening to the No Doubt About It podcast. We hope you've enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at No Doubt About It Podcast.
No doubt about it.
The No Doubt About It podcast is a Choose Adventure Media production. See you next time on No Doubt About It.
There is no doubt about it.